Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to a special edition of playoff football here at Highland High School. We've got the number 8 seed Hawks taking on the number 9 seed Desert Mountain Wolves in about just a few minutes. Amanda, what do you see from tonight's matchup?
So neither team went into postseason last year, but Highland is looking for their first playoff win since 2008, while Desert Mountain's looking for their first playoff win since 2012. I think the biggest question that I have for you, Alex, is what's the biggest challenge that Highland's going to face tonight?
Yeah, the biggest challenge tonight for Highland's going to be Keaton Slovis and this passing offense for Desert Mountain. Slovis over 2,500 yards this season, 29 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions. They have been a dynamic offense. Joshua Walker, their receivers, one of the candidates picked by AZ Central to be a potential player of the year in the state of Arizona. He has 17 total touchdowns this year, including 14 receiving touchdowns. That's a dynamic duo between Walker and Slovis. Will be really tough for Highland to stop.
And I think on the Hawk side, running back Jacob Wood is just coming back into the game after coming off of an injury. Do you think that injury is going to affect his playing ability tonight?
Yeah, Wood's knee was hurt last week, and they missed him greatly against Desert Ridge, specifically on the defensive side with his ability to plug up holes in the run game. So tonight, getting him back, his impact will certainly be felt on the offensive side as the team's leading rusher this season. But not only there on defense, his ability to, as I said, plug up holes is going to be huge against a team where they're going to be passing a lot. Wood also has 4 interceptions on the season. So look for him to make a big impact tonight, and he'll be a key player to watch whether or not Highland ends up coming away with the victory.
And lastly, looking back at last season, how has that atmosphere at Highland changed?
Oh, it's completely different. I mean, last season this team went 3-7. They got rid of a coach who had been here for a long time. Brock Farrell comes in from Shadow Mountain, immediately turns his team around. They flip their record from 3-7 to 7-3, the team's first 7-win season since 2008. And they're also looking tonight, as you mentioned, for their first playoff win since 2008. And the atmosphere is electric. I mean, last week, even in a loss, you had fans up there super excited. The players down on the field have a lot of energy. It's a big-time playoff atmosphere here at Highland High School for the first time in a while.
And I think that we can both agree it's going to be a game of offense versus defense tonight. It's going to be an exciting game. We're going to take a break, but first we do want to thank Drake Allen, Alicia Holman, football boosters, friends and family who have supported this team tonight. We're going to send it to a break right now. Jordan Lake will be back in the booth with more.
And a very fine good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to Gilbert, Arizona at the Nest. It's a high-profile 6A playoff matchup tonight, Alex, that we've got between the hometown Highland Hawks and the visiting Desert Mountain Wolves. As you see the Hawks exiting the tunnel tonight, a very big game for the Hawks, who are hosting one of the first playoff games here since 2008 when they won it the last time they won a playoff game. Desert Mountain, however, coming in with an air raid offense, looking to spoil this Highland event. Desert Mountain close to 3,000 passing yards on the season. That is absolutely incredible. They average 295 pass yards a game, and that's all led by junior quarterback Keaton Slovis.
Yeah, Slovis has been a phenomenal player all year, but Slovis has been benefited by having one of the best receivers in the state, Joshua Walker, with 17 total touchdowns, including 14 receiving touchdowns. He is one of the most dynamic receivers in the state. AZ Central has already tabbed him as one of their nominees for State Player of the Year. And looking at the rest of this offense, Nick Hill as well at running back, 679 yards and 12 total touchdowns. They've got a lot of dynamic players on their offense. It's going to make it really tough for Highland's defense.
Yeah, Highland's defense tonight gets back Jacob Wood. Wood, their linebacker star. He's a senior. This could be his last game on the field. The Hawks hoping that it won't be. But it's going to be up to that defensive core starring him and Tate Stevens tonight to stop that potent Desert Mountain offense.
Yeah, I mean, Wood last week, his impact was clearly missed on the defensive side and the offensive side as he was able to, as the Desert Ridge offense was able to run all over them up the middle without Jacob Wood out there. And then as a running back, his impact was clearly missed as they had to go to Colmore and Huffman.
As we get ready for the national anthem, we're going to send it to break, and we'll be right back with the first round of 6A football state championship matchup between the Highland Hawks and the Desert Mountain Wolves. We'll be right back. And after that wonderful rendition of the Star Spangled Banner by the Highland Hawk Band, we are almost ready for football as we get back to our pregame show. Alex, we were talking about that Highland defense that's really got to stop Desert Mountain's offense.
Yeah, and Keaton Slovis, as I mentioned in the pregame show with Amanda, he has 29 touchdowns this year and just 3 picks. So look for Jacob Wood and Jalen Johnson to be the keys. Wood at linebacker and Johnson in the secondary as they lead the team each with 4 interceptions on the year. They're going to need to find a way to pick Slovis off tonight if they want to have a chance to flip the momentum and get themselves on a winning track.
Well, Slovis doesn't get picked off very often, Alex. As we know, a very, very high-profile coaching staff for this Desert Mountain team. Former Arizona Cardinal quarterback that took him to the Super Bowl in 2008. The last time these Highland Hawks won a playoff game, Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner, the offensive coordinator on the side of the Wolves. So, I mean, it just makes sense for Slovis to not get into that kind of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, not many quarterbacks across the nation at any level get Kurt Warner as one of their coaches. And Warner, obviously, one of the most phenomenal quarterbacks the NFL has ever seen. And Slovis has been phenomenal. He's worked a lot on his footwork, a lot on his mobility. He's a junior this year. He's going to have a lot of college attention next season. A couple of his guys already, Josh Walker, who we mentioned, has offers from UC Davis and Navy. This offense is phenomenal, and Slovis is the key to that offense.
Looks like Josh Walker out there for the coin toss, and as you see on your screen, Desert Mountain will receive the opening kickoff. The student section decked out in neon and ready for tonight's ball game. And you can feel the atmosphere here is different, Alex.
Oh, absolutely. This is a playoff game. This is the opener of the Arizona State playoffs. A phenomenal time in high school football, and there's not much more you can ask for as a fan. High school football, Friday night, under the lights. This is what every kid grows up dreaming about, and their moment is finally realized. Both these teams not in the playoffs last season, making it in. It's going to be a phenomenal game.
Well, to start the game, we'll have Austin McNamara, who will kick the ball away for the Hawks. But on the other end, for the Wolves, Braden Narveson, he has 10 field goals on this season as compared to Austin McNamara's 8. Narveson committed to Iowa State.
Yeah, Narveson phenomenal. Second in 6A with his 10 field goals, just one behind the leaders. He's been phenomenal all year. And special teams was a problem for Highland last week against Desert Ridge. So look for that to be a key tonight as Highland tries to focus on that for the win.
And we are underway as Austin McNamara boots it deep to the Wolves. It looks like that is Nick Hill, the running back for the Wolves, who returns the opening kickoff out to around the 30-yard line.
Yeah, so now we'll get our first look at Slovis, Hill, and this potent Wolf offense. They scored 35 points a game, as we mentioned this year, so look for them to be constantly up-tempo, throwing quick passes and getting to the line, and a lot of that Kurt Warner influence.
Well, there is Slovis on the left side of your screen there, number 7, set up in shotgun formation with Nick Hill to his left and one man, out to each side. Slovis on the first play of the game, sacked. Great job by number 46. That's Noah Evans, got the player of the game against Desert Ridge last week.
Yeah, Evans, the team's leader in sacks this season, and right there, that's exactly what you want to do against a quarterback who throws it so well and throws it so many times. When he's dropping back, constantly put pressure on him, it gets it in the back of his mind, and that way you're going to be hurrying more and more of his attempts.
Sets up a 2nd and 15 early on. A nice start for the Highland defense. As we mentioned in the pregame, are really going to have to stop this offense. Slovis with 2 men to each side, completes to Josh Walker, who puts a nice spin move on to get a couple of extra yards, and is taken down by number 42, Tate Stevens.
Yeah, Walker, a dynamic receiver right there. Does a nice job running that quick slant. The ball is there right on time. That's a perfect timing route, and we're going to see a lot of that tonight, and it's going to be up to guys like Tate Stevens and Jacob Wood to be able to stop those plays and keep them from generating deep offensive plays like they were hurt by last week against Desert Ridge.
3rd down and 4 yards to go from the 34-yard line.
Yeah, and 3rd down been an Achilles heel for the Hawks all season long. Look for them to try to put some pressure on Slovis and try to get off the field.
Slovis takes a high snap and rolls left. Looking down the field, complete to Walker, who dives over the 45-yard line. Good enough for a Desert Mountain first down.
Yeah, and they're going to need to put some kind of a press coverage possibly or really highlight Josh Walker as he has lit up every team he's faced this season so far, and Highland appears to be no different so far.
So new set of downs for the Wolves. 1st and 10 from the 45. Sorry, Alex.
No, I was just looking for Jalen Johnson to try to make a play here, number 20. He'll be lined up on the sides of your screen. Looks like he's matched up one-on-one against Walker here, so look for that to be a matchup all night long.
Slovis calling number 81, Brandon Crone, in motion, but completes outside to his favorite target. Again, it's Josh Walker.
Yeah, and they try to get a screen right there. That perfect one-on-one. That's just a matchup, the Oklahoma drill, the old one-on-one in football. And Johnson does a nice job, forced him to the outside, and Connor Collimore comes in for the support. But look for that to be a consistent theme all night long, is trying to get the ball to Walker in space and allow him to make plays with his feet.
The 8-yard reception sets up 2nd and 2 from the Highland 47, so the Wolves quickly into Highland territory. Slovis back under center. He's got trips out to his left, one man to his right, and Nick Hill behind him in the backfield. Slovis looking left and completes again to for the fourth straight time to Josh Walker.
Yeah, it looks like it might be seeing a double-digit catch night from Josh Walker, as he's already, in the first 3 minutes of this game, already tallied 4 catches, and 2 of them have gone for first downs. I mean, Highland's going to have to find a way to highlight him and try to shut him down.
Well, 9:42 to go in the first. And Desert Mountain has a new set of downs yet again. 1st and 10 from the 43. Slovis looking to his right and completes. This time it's number 13, Maximus Walker.
Yeah, and look tonight for just Slovis continuing to complete those short throws, and he'll tally a lot of completed passes. Tyler Brady in there on the stop. And look for them to continue hustling to the line, getting into the huddle, and quickly getting to the line.
Tyler Brady in on the stop for Highland. 2nd and 4 now from the 37. Slovis in this offense working the ball down the field methodically. As there's Walker in motion. Slovis takes a snap from shotgun, looks over the middle, complete. Looks like it's good for another first down. That's number 81, Brandon Crone on the reception.
Yeah, and that play was targeted for Josh Walker. You saw Slovis take the snap and quickly look that way. Highland did a nice job of having a defender standing right in front of him, as they did a quick spacing format where they have a bunch of guys do short, quick curls, but they're able to complete it down the middle there to their big receiver, Crone.
Well, it seems like the offense is slowed down just a little bit with the short gains here. 1st and 10 from the Highland 33. Hill in motion, and they're going to pitch it to him. Hill looking to get to the outside, and he's stopped. Let's see if they'll give him the first down.
Yeah, and I think Highland may have gotten a tough break there, as that looked like a clear holding call on the outside there that appeared to go without a penalty flag thrown. Tough break for the Hawks there, as a big gain for Nick Hill.
Jalen Johnson getting into the action early. Seen him on your screen a couple of times so far on this first drive of the game. Made the stop on that play.
Yeah, and Highland has to figure out a way to slow this offense down and force them into a long third down, possibly by stopping the completions on 1st and 2nd down, and maybe putting some more pressure, as they did on the first play, on the Keaton Slovis.
Well, a third of the way into the first quarter. Desert Mountain looking to put some points on the board. 1st and 10 from the 22. Slovis gives to Hill. Hill looking for space to run and unable to find it.
Yeah, and interesting there. First time they've run it in quite a few plays there, besides the reverse on the previous play. But they clearly are now trying to hold the clock, roll the ball a little bit, run the clock, and allow their offense to settle and control the time of possession and the momentum of this game.
Gain of 1, 2nd and 9 now. Slovis takes the shotgun snap. He goes for the end zone to Walker. Complete for the Desert Mountain touchdown, and that was pretty quick, Alex.
Yeah, that looked to be some kind of a broken coverage there, as Joshua Walker was wide open, the last guy on the field that you want to see with no defenders around him, as Slovis drops in a beautiful ball to Walker, and that's Walker's 18th touchdown of the season. And at this rate, unless Highland can start slowing him down, this could be a long night for that defense.
That's catch number 5 on the night, and that'll give us a first chance to see Braden Narveson, who's out for the extra point, who puts it right through the uprights. So as Desert Mountain's fight song plays, it's 7-0 in favor of the Wolves early on with 7 minutes and 8 seconds to go here in the first quarter.
Yeah, the Highland defense not the start you were looking for if you're Brock Farrell, as Desert Mountain just marched down the field. I'm not sure they had a negative play on that drive, except for the first play of the sack. And this is going to be big tonight for the secondary. It's going to have to find a way to slow down Josh Walker. I'm not sure if that's an adjustment they need to make with the play calling, or just the guys on the field need to understand where he is, find him, and keep the ball out of his hands, because he had 5 catches on their first drive, including the touchdown. There's no doubt he's the number 1 target. They need to find a way to slow him down, or Desert Mountain's going to keep putting points on the board.
Braden Narveson tees the ball up on the other side for the Wolves, as Highland has a couple of guys back to return. Looks like Connor Cullimore, one of the 2 back there. And Cullimore will let it sail over his head and through the back of the end zone for a touchback. So Caleb Herbert and company will get to start at their own 20-yard line, and let's see what the Hawks offense has in store for us tonight.
Yeah, and we get our first look at playoff version of Caleb Herbert. Last week we saw him. He had a tough night. You know, there were a lot of receivers that he may have just barely missed that were open. They had a couple throws down the field where they could have had big plays, and throw was just a little bit inaccurate. So look for Herbert to try to bounce back tonight and try to lead his team to their first playoff victory in 9 years.
Herbert calls a man in motion. It's a direct snap to Connor Cullimore, however, who gets about 15 yards. Good enough for a Highland first down.
Yeah, and as good as this Desert Mountain offense has been all season, their defense may be just as bad as their offense is good. They allow 40 points a game, including 2 games this season where teams have scored more than 60. So look for Highland to try to get this to be a shootout tonight between Highland and Desert Mountain.
Well, Herbert sets up with 2 men to his right, 1 to his left. And again, Cullimore in the backfield, who they're going to give it to. Cullimore able to find some space and get about 5 yards. A nice tackle on the play by number 21, Paul Sacken.
Yeah, Dayton Huffman on the carry there. A nice 6-yard gain on that play, and look for them to continue to rotate between these 3 tailbacks as they finally are allowed to get Jacob Wood back into the fold.
Herbert takes a snap from shotgun, and again it's Dayton Huffman. Huffman finding some space, good for a first down. Trying to get around the corner, Huffman at the 40, and tackled out of bounds around the 36-yard line.
Yeah, and Connor Cullimore, a great job there laying a block on the outside for Huffman to get an extra 10 to 15 yards out of that play. Great job downfield blocking, and Dayton Huffman finding the holes early. He may be the feature back tonight. It looks like his first 2 carries, both phenomenal gains.
Highland gaining ground early, 1st and 10 from the 34. We've got a stoppage of play on the field. Looks like an injured Wolf is down. Number 4, Jack Sacken.
Yeah, senior linebacker out there will be a tough loss here. We'll see what the injury is.
Looks like it's ankle related. By the way, the athletic trainers are paying him attention out there. At this time, we'd like to thank all of our platinum sponsors. Thank you all for your support of Hawks football throughout the season. Without you, we wouldn't be here bringing you this broadcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in and supporting Highland football. 6 minutes and 7 seconds remaining in the first quarter. The Wolves put up a quick touchdown from the hands of Keaton Slovis into the hands of his favorite wide receiver Joshua Walker, and now the Hawks looking to do the same thing with Caleb Herbert under center of their offense.
Yeah, and one thing that we forgot to mention in the beginning of the broadcast was the fact that now the teams are in the postseason, they get to call all their JV guys up, and that adds a lot of depth to these offenses and allows them to be able to practice against JV and keep their guys healthy.
Herbert takes the snap. Jacob Wood into the game, and he'll get the ball and go up the middle. Jacob Wood into open field and into the end zone for a Highland touchdown.
Yeah, Jacob Wood, wow. On his first carry since being out last week, he darts through the middle of the defense and makes a great cut and just goes right up the field, not touched by a Desert Mountain defender. That's a phenomenal play, and Jacob Wood right away making his impact felt on the field.
Well, it's good to have this guy back, I'm sure. Brock Farrell really must have missed his input last week, excuse me.
Yeah, Jacob, I mean, we talked about it all week. His impact absolutely phenomenal. As Austin McNamara's extra point is good. So, wow. A couple quick touchdowns here. This could be a fun game to watch tonight.
The score knotted at 7 as we are just under halfway done with the first quarter. As you mentioned, Alex, this one's definitely going to be a shootout.
Yeah, not a lot of time the defense is on the field there. Desert Mountain appeared to have no answer for the Highland running game, so looks like one of these, maybe who has the ball last to determine who's going to end up winning this game, as Highland's going to need to figure out a way to stop Desert Mountain through the air, and Desert Mountain's going to have to find a way to stop Highland on the ground.
Well, with 2 drives, both scoring, Austin McNamara will be back out onto the field to kick it away to Desert Mountain. McNamara's kick will not get through the back of the end zone. That's number 15, Vince Ellison, on the return. Ellison looking to turn the corner. It's tackled out of bounds around the 20-yard line.
Yeah, look for Connor Cullimore here in the secondary to try to make some kind of adjustment and try to maybe bracket Joshua Walker, have a safety kind of float over to his side, and they've been throwing it a lot to Cullimore. He was the closest defender on that touchdown pass. So we'll see what Brock Farrell drew up there as during that time the defense was on the bench. It wasn't long, so we'll see what they've got for Slovis and company.
Slovis setting up with trips out to his right as he sends Maximus Walker in motion. Slovis under pressure. It gets it away, hit hard. Incomplete as it falls on the Highland sideline. Slovis looks to be okay, but took a really big hit there.
Yeah, it looked like Tate Stevens and Noah Evans in pursuit there. Evans appeared to dive and just barely missed him, and then Slovis set up to throw that and just got absolutely drilled. And a great job by the Hawks. Clearly, if they're able to put pressure on Slovis, he's going to have a hard time getting rid of that ball quickly. So a great first play here for the Hawks.
Well, similar to the last drive, the Wolves unable to get something going on their first play of the drive. Slovis under center now. He's going to give the ball to, looks like Nick Hill, who's tackled by a barrage of Hawks. Gain of about 3.
Yeah, so here we go. This is the first third and long, it appears, that we're seeing. Third and about 6. So here we go. This is the moment of truth here. Tate Stevens, Jacob Wood going to have to play some coverage. They're obviously going to be in throwing the ball here. And obviously their target, they're going to be looking at Josh Walker. So look for Jalen Johnson. If they're matched up one-on-one, we'll see how they line it up here. And it appears that Walker is out on the outside being covered by Huffman. Oh, no, there he is lining up to the outside.
Wow, an interception on the field. That came out of nowhere. Tate Stevens, Slovis, just his 5th interception of the season.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened on that play. It looked like he was trying to throw that on a curl, and the receiver didn't turn around in time. And Tate Stevens, unbelievable play to come up with the interception. Normally, Jacob Wood's the guy to come down with those, but Stevens, a big play, his 2nd pick of the year. And this is what we were saying at the beginning of the game, what Highland needed to flip the momentum, get it on their side right here, force turnovers. They forced 24 turnovers to Desert Mountain's 10 this season.
Well, Highland with the ball in prime field position. Herbert takes the snap. The give to Jacob Wood. Wood gets about maybe 5 or 6 on the play. Bring up about a 2nd and 5 from the 25.
Yeah, and at this point, I'm not sure if you have to have Caleb Herbert throw a single pass the way the running game is going. And this has been phenomenal. Jacob Wood's gotten a couple carries. Huffman's gotten a couple carries. They've all been positive. And we'll see if Connor Collimore ends up working his way into the action as well.
Well, we've yet to see a pass attempted from Herbert to his favorite target, number 7, Tanner Lunt. Lunt set up on the near sideline as they send Cullimore in motion. Herbert's going to hand it off to him on a passing play. Connor Cullimore gets into the passing action, completes to number 8, Elliott Moe, for a Hawks touchdown.
A little bit of trickery, say, for the postseason there. Wow, as they give it to Herbert, or they give it to Cullimore, excuse me, on one of their classic reverse plays, and Cullimore pulls up and throws a dime to Elliott Moe for the touchdown, and Highland takes the lead. This is going to be a long night for the Desert Mountain defense unless they're able to turn it around, as Highland, there appears to be no answer for their offense so far.
McNamara looking to make it 14-7. The kick is up, and it is through the uprights.
So that's everything you can ask for out of a defense right there. Force a turnover, get the ball in prime field position, and in just 2 plays, Highland able to take advantage of that as Connor Cullimore shows off that arm there with a nice touch pass to Elliott Moe. And we've got a 14-7 Highland lead.
Yeah, Cullimore showing that he's a triple threat out there, not just a running back, not just a defensive back, but he can also throw the ball as well. Nice completion there to Elliott Moe.
Yeah, and there were definitely some doubters this week of the Highland Hawks. This is an 8-9 matchup, about the closest 2 teams in terms of resume that you're going to see in the bracket. And the Rivals.com website that covers Arizona high school football predicted Highland to lose this game. And so obviously we've got a lot of time remaining, but Highland clearly may have heard some of that bulletin board material and is showing out so far.
I don't know about you, Alex, but I think that's an absolutely fantastic play call there, and great awareness by Connor Cullimore.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say is breaking it out this early in the game. You may want to save something like that for a later situation, but you know what? If it works for a touchdown, doesn't really matter.
McNamara's kick taken in the end zone for a touchback, so Desert Mountain will start with relatively the same field position, excuse me. They started off with last drive, obviously. Tate Stevens coming up with a big interception, the key to that last touchdown.
Yeah, and Slovis, just his 4th interception on the season, and we'll see how he's able to respond from that, as he has not faced a lot of adversity this season, at least throwing the ball. So we'll have to see if Highland can keep up this play and get another turnover chain, as they did in the last drive.
4 minutes and 21 seconds to go in the first, as Slovis sets up under center, calls Maximus Walker in motion, and they try to throw a screen. Is that going to be considered a backwards pass? No, it's not. It's ruled an incompletion. Looked like they tried to get it out to Walker, who was setting up for the screen.
Yeah, if we had instant replay, I'm not sure if that would have gone the other way if this was an NFL or college football game, but nonetheless, another incomplete pass for Slovis, and it appears his confidence may be shaken a little bit after that interception, as that was not a good throw on an easy route.
Slovis now setting up in shotgun, looking to his left, pump fakes, and now has to take off on his own, looking over the middle of the field, finds a wide open Nick Hill, who's tackled just past the 35.
Yeah, that was a nice job. Just as we thought he may have taken a couple plays off, Slovis does a nice job getting out of the pocket, finding a wide open Nick Hill over the middle. And those are the kind of plays Highland cannot have, the plays where he gets out of the pocket and is allowed to make plays and receivers to get open. They need to get pressure on him and contain him in the pocket.
Desert Mountain's offense looking a little bit slower than we expected on these last couple of drives. Slovis, the pitch outside to Hill, who's going to try to get around the corner. Cullimore almost took him down. Hill changing direction, and he's got a bunch of open field in front of him. Nick Hill out of bounds at the Highland 30.
Yeah, and Connor Cullimore did a great job of pursuing him, got there in the backfield, appeared to have him tackled. Nick Hill does a nice job cutting away and then cutting it completely back the other way around the field there. And that's a big gain for the Wolves. And a tough break for Highland as they had a chance to get him down for a loss. And Brock Farrell appears to be unhappy with his defense as he calls timeout here.
Well, if you're Coach Brock Farrell calling this timeout, I mean, what I would expect Coach is saying is you can't allow that kind of play. I mean, you had him tackled in the backfield, and you allow the guy to completely change direction and get about 30 yards on that run.
Yeah, I mean, as a defense, you have to contain when a guy gets a pitch out to the right side like that. That's the difference between high school, college, and NFL players oftentimes is those little mental things, like realizing that if a running back, especially a talented guy like Hill, gets stopped on one side, he's going to try to go back the other way. He's got the speed for it. So the defense needs to have a better job of covering up that side, not allowing him to cut it back. Desert Mountain did a great job of picking up blocks and allowing him to break that big gain. And Tyler Brady did a nice job chasing him down, knocking him out of bounds. But a tough break there, and now just 31 yards between the Wolves and a tie ball game.
Nick Hill, the senior, has a college offer from Adams State in Colorado. As we get set for action, 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line. Slovis under center. And a flag on the play, likely an illegal motion there.
Yeah, that appeared to be a bubble screen in action there as they were motioning number 15, Vince Ellison, out and trying to get a bubble screen going to him with some blockers up front, including Walker. But tough movement there. When you got a lot of movement on an offense, especially at the high school level, you're going to have plays like this where guys simply make mental mistakes, and that's an example right there.
Well, the false start will cost the Wolves 5 yards. 1st and 15 now from the 36. Slovis from shotgun looking right, and he's smothered. That's number 80, Dallin Clement.
Yeah, the senior there, unbelievable. He simply pushed back the right tackle and drove him directly into Slovis and just got him with one arm and took him down. That's a phenomenal sack there and a hustle play by Dallin Clement. So the senior in his first playoff game here at Highland making a big play.
These Hawks are riled up. They went 7-3 this year after going 3-7 last year. Brock Farrell really able to come in and flip the momentum of this team and make them a contender again. 2nd and 23, as Alex said, from the 44. Slovis from shotgun. Backing up, has to evade more pressure, and completes over the middle. That's Hill. Hill trying to evade the tacklers and is finally taken down in between the 40 and the 35-yard line.
Yeah, it looked to be a big block in the middle of the field there. That might be what this flag is for, as the flag is right down where Hill was tackled. We'll see what the officials call here. But another play there where Slovis able to evade the pocket and find Nick Hill, the wide open receiver. But Highland does a nice job rallying to the football and keeping it from being another big game. So that'll be a block in the back penalty against the Wolves. So another 10-yard penalty for Desert Mountain pushes them back even further. And in most games, you're not going to be that worried about field goal position, but when you have a kicker like Braden Arvison, who can kick, who's an Iowa State commit Division I caliber kicker, being able to push them back further and keeping them out of field goal range could be a big factor, especially with a lead and keeping the defense on the field.
Yeah, if you're head coach Dave Sedmak, I'm sure you're not too happy with the penalties here. Should be 2nd and 33. However, the scoreboard reads 2nd and 24. Alex, is that a spot foul?
It appears that must have been a spot foul penalty there.
Now Desert Mountain now going to burn one of their timeouts, their first of the half, with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the first quarter. The score, Highland 14, the Wolves of Desert Mountain 7.
Yeah, it's tough to draw up something super creative when you've got 24 yards to just the first down marker. And they've been backed up almost all the way back into their own territory after starting this drive this series at the 31-yard line. So if you're Coach Dave Sedmak, you have to be telling your guys, trying to get open quickly, short routes, maybe some slants from Walker or bubble screens, as the Highland defensive line, which has been good all year, led by Noah Evans, who picked up his 8th sack of the year earlier today. If they keep putting pressure on Slovis, he's not going to be able to get those throws off. But like on the first drive, they had quick throws, consistent, open receivers. If they have that, they'll be tough to stop. But if Highland keeps putting pressure on them, this could be a long night.
Yeah, Josh Walker, 5 receptions, including the touchdown catch on that first drive of the game. Obviously unable to do anything on the second drive as Slovis threw the interception, which led to a 2-play drive for Highland and their second touchdown of the game. With 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go, we are ready to play. This first quarter, Slovis rolling to his right, has some room in front of him, sends a ball deep for Walker, incomplete, just out of his reach.
Yeah, and Walker was open there. He did a nice, looked like an Ocho route where he went in, went out, went back in, and then went back out. And if that ball had been thrown vertical, that would have been a touchdown. And if they had been on the same page, clearly just a slightly missed ball there, as Walker was unable to track that in the air well enough to come down with it in the end zone.
Yeah, Walker doing some twisting and turning down there around the 10-yard line, trying to find that football.
Yeah, and these safeties, I'm not sure why they keep forgetting that Josh Walker is going right down the middle of the field, but if they don't find a way to stay in front of him, not all those balls are going to fall incomplete. Those are going to be easy touchdowns for Desert Mountain.
3rd and very long here for the Wolves. 3rd and 24 to be exact. Slovis looking right, steps up, fires towards the corner of the field. Incomplete. Intended for number 13, Maximus Walker.
Yeah, another pass down the field where the receiver may have been there had it been a slightly more accurate throw, but that was a big throw down the field on 3rd down, and that brings up a long 4th, and it appears they'll bring out the punting unit here.
This will be our first chance to see Braden Narveson punt the ball tonight. We saw him kick the ball away on Desert Mountain's first kick of the game, as well as the extra point on their touchdown. Connor Cullimore back to return for the Hawks. A very short punt from Narveson. It takes a Highland bounce and goes out of bounds around the 20-yard line, and that's exactly where they're going to mark it.
Yeah, a solid punt from Narveson. Last week, that was the Achilles heel for the Highland offense, was field position. They started consistently inside the 10-yard line. I believe 3 separate punts were down inside the 10, including a couple at the 1. And this slightly better field position, still inside the 20, but with the lead here, minute left, Highland in good position if Caleb Urban can put together another solid drive. As he hasn't had too much pressure on him tonight, though, as this running game has been absolutely dominant.
Herbert's got 3 men out to his left and none to his right to start this drive. Herbert going to give to Dayton Huffman. Huffman looking for space, Stretches the ball out in front of the 25-yard line, but that is where they will mark him a gain of 5, 2nd and 5 from the 25.
Yeah, nice job. Huffman, I feel like he's the guy you're going to give the ball to. He's the most shifty out of the 3 backs. Cullimore and Wood, much bigger guys, play defense as well, are big hitters. Huffman's that quick kind of scat back position, if you will, and does a great job there of weaving in between the tacklers.
Huffman again gets a couple more yards, wants to keep running, but the referees call him down around the 30. Short of the first down, 3rd and 1.
Yeah, and here I would imagine Connor Cullimore gets the football. He's their biggest power back, although Jacob Wood as well. Either of those 2 guys get the ball up the middle here. They are tough to bring down on first contact.
Well, Herbert's setting up with Tanner Lunt to his far side. But you're right, Alex, they're going to give it to Huffman, who is streaking down the field. Huffman, 10-5, touchdown Hawks.
My goodness. That is some speed from Dayton Huffman. There is a penalty marker down.
It's going to be an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Highland. That does not negate the touchdown, however, so a big run there. 75, or actually 70 yards for Dayton Huffman there, but he shot one right up the gut.
Yeah, that looked like a young Bryce Love out there. Huffman just got through the line and had just green grass in front of him, and Desert Mountain defenders could not catch him. They tried to get him right at the end there, and Huffman, phenomenal speed to bust that and put the Hawks above 20 points in the first quarter.
That's something we haven't often seen with these Hawks. This Desert Mountain defense, definitely not one of the best that they've faced.
Yeah, and this could be another high-scoring game allowed by the Desert Mountain defense. We'll see if their offense can keep up. As the nice thing about having a strong passing offense, you're able to quickly get back into games.
Well, McNamara ready to put the extra point up and through. The snap and the hold. McNamara's extra point is good. So a 21-7 lead for Highland with 36 seconds left in the first quarter. Alex, this first quarter has inched by.
Yeah, this reminds me of that third quarter against Desert Vista a few weeks ago where we had just a bunch of touchdowns all in a row and a lot of high-flying action. But this ground game for Highland, they have to be over 100 yards rushing already at this point, probably a lot more as they've busted off a bunch of big games. Dayton Huffman himself may have 75 of those yards. And can't say enough about Huffman so far. That speed, that was Division I caliber speed. And Huffman and Collimore, that duo, they'll have another year of eligibility next season. So this can be a fun matchup to watch this year, but just wait till next year.
This big playoff matchup tonight between the 8-seed Highland Hawks and the 9-seed Desert Mountain Wolves. Highly anticipated here at Highland High School. A lot of the fans kept talking about it before the game. They can't wait. One of the best times of the year. However, that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty will be assessed on the kickoff, so Austin McNamara will have to kick it away from his own 25. That's a 15-yard penalty. McNamara, a low kick. Fielded there by Nick Hill. Hill looking to get to the outside, unable to do so. And is tackled shy of the 30-yard line by the Highland special teams unit.
Yeah, it looked like that may have been Jacob Wood's younger brother, Daniel, getting down there on the stop, the sophomore, who will be seeing his name quite a bit on the field when he starts becoming a starter on varsity next year, as he was a dominant running back and linebacker at the JV level this season.
You mentioned the JV team, Alex. Mason Trail no longer available for the Hawks, the backup quarterback for Highland.
His name is Drew Woody.
Drew Woody, that's right. We don't have him on our roster up here.
Lefty, a very accurate quarterback.
He's the backup for Caleb Herbert. However, a nice hit there on number 13, Maximus Walker, by the Highland defense.
Yeah, Stevens and Cullimore combined there, and some punishing hits early from Highland. A lot of defensive intensity, and that's just another example. We talked about it earlier. The atmosphere around this team has changed. There's so much energy within these guys, and tonight it's all coming out on the field here in a playoff atmosphere.
Well, as the last seconds of the first quarter wind down, we'll have a stoppage of play. The score, the Hawks 21 and the Wolves 7. So an unbelievably potent offense that we haven't really seen from the Hawks in this first quarter so far.
Yeah, last week we saw 7 points from Highland and an offense that was really stagnant, inability to really throw it, and a defense that was really strong in Desert Ridge, to be fair. But this week, they clearly worked on the running game and the blocking this week in practice, because Dayton Huffman and this offense have just been running all over the place. Huffman, Jacob Wood had the nice long touchdown run, and this is phenomenal. And then on the defensive side, it was a great first quarter. I mean, a team that scores 35 points a game only has 7 after one quarter, and a nice interception by Tate Stevens, the ability to flip the field and get Highland one of those touchdowns, and just generating points off those turnovers. That's Highland's 25th turnover forced as a defense. You can't ask for much more, and if you win the turnover battle, it's pretty well known in football, it's a lot easier to win the game. With
that rushing attack so good tonight for Highland, it really makes me wonder how much we're going to see Caleb Herbert throw the ball. I mean, we haven't seen a target to Tanner Lunt yet. We haven't seen a target to Ty Bryant yet. I mean, there's a bunch of receivers for this Highland team that can really make a difference, and we just haven't had a chance to get their names into the broadcast because the rushing attack has been so good.
Yeah, there's no need. I mean, Elliott Moe, we got his name in there only because Connor Cullimore threw him a touchdown pass.
That pass there by Slovis complete to Josh Walker. Tate Stevens and Connor Cullimore in there to stop Walker.
So there's catch number 6 for Josh Walker, and finally going to get his name back out there, but this will bring up a short third down as they were not able to convert on that second down. So look for Tate Stevens trying to make another big play as that last drive where they've had the interception. It was a third down pick thrown by Slovis.
2nd and 6 from the 39-yard line.
But I would imagine that the ball will be in the hands of Nick Hill here, the 185-pound tailback, as it looks like they're coming out for a measurement to determine whether or not that was a first down. And it looks like it's going to be enough. And yes, it is. First down, Desert Mountain. So a nice conversion there on 2nd and 6 for the Wolves.
You know, Alex, we've already done 5 of these, as you probably have learned not to go off the scoreboard. 2nd and 6 was the last play, as you mentioned. 1st and 10 now. Ball spotted at the 39. Slovis looking to his right, complete to Josh Walker, and he's going to have a couple of blocks to get to the outside. And Walker tackled out of bounds at around the 37.
Yeah, Walker, a physical specimen out there, not just quickness, but also just power, as he did not try to get out of bounds there and simply take the first down. He embraced the contact there, and it took 3 or 4 Highland defenders to knock him out of bounds. And that's now 7 catches as we have the Josh Walker catch tracker tonight. We're already close to double-digit receptions in the first half.
As we know, Walker does receive the brunt of the receptions for Desert Mountain.
Yeah, and Walker coming in, your leading receiver this season in 6A, so keeping up that track tonight.
Slovis, this time it's number 81, Brandon Crone. However, going back to Walker, got a couple of high-profile offers so far. UC Davis gave him an offer, as did the Navy.
Yeah, Naval Academy, that's big time. That's high-level Division I, although won't get a lot of targets at receiver at Navy as they run that triple option attack. But this Desert Mountain program has produced some really phenomenal college players. They've got Kyle Allen, who was originally at Texas A&M, now at the University of Houston.
Can't forget about Kurt Warner's son, Cade. Cade Warner at the University of Nebraska. Walked on as a receiver there. Slovis looking to his left, and it's a bullet complete to number 25, Armand Reichelt.
Yeah, so those slant routes, those continue to be open for Desert Mountain here, play after play. And I'm not sure if that's the linebacker adjustment, if that's a corner adjustment. Something needs to happen. Otherwise, those slants are going to be there all night long for the Wolves.
Said it a couple of times on the broadcast, and we'll say it again. This offense that we thought was going to be getting to the line with intensity has really been slowed down as Nick Hill takes the carry there and is stopped around the 30. A nice hit at the end of the play by number 22, Mason Romero.
Yeah, big hit from Romero. I'm not sure if we were in the college football world, that may have been a targeting penalty, but a great job there by Romero to close out that hit, and that'll leave they won't forget that hit for too long.
2nd and 7 after the gain of 3.
As we're just about 10 minutes to go here in this second quarter, Desert Mountain finally moving the ball after a couple of negative possessions.
Slovis complete to Hill, who's going to have some space and gets into the end zone. So what looked like a broken play from the beginning ends up being points for Desert Mountain.
Yeah, that was designed that way. That was a beautifully run screen there as Hill set up right at the line of scrimmage. Offensive lineman got out in front of him. Slovis did a nice job getting rid of it just in time to away from the defenders of Highland. And Nick Hill, very little resistance as he found his way into the end zone. His first touchdown of the night, as Narveson looks to make it a 7-point game.
Narveson's kick up and through. Makes it a 21-14 game as the Desert Mountain fight song plays, very reminiscent, if not exactly like Michigan's fight song.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's not a lot of originality in logos or songs for all these. There's so many high schools in this country. I mean, the Highland logo takes a little bit from the old Atlanta Hawks logo, as well as Desert Mountain. That actually looks like an original logo for Desert Mountain. Rare that you see that. Most teams would copy a college or a pro team that uses a wolf as a mascot. And it actually looks like it might be reminiscent of the New Mexico Lobos logo. The Lobos out of the Mountain West Conference.
Mountain West, that's right.
It used to be in the WAC, I want to say. The old WAC.
That's besides the point now, but it's his high school, Alex, at the high school.
So we've got Cullimore and Wood back there as the kick returners. I'm a little bit surprised Dayton Huffman's not back there with that elite speed he showed on that touchdown run. Obviously, you're not going to switch returners mid-game, but Dayton Huffman looks like the fastest out of those three for sure.
Well, Narveson ready to kick it away, and he does. That one looks like it's destined for the back of the end zone, and it is. So after the Nick Hill scamper into the end zone on the pass from Keaton Slovis, the Hawks will take over at their own 20, and Caleb Herbert and this rushing attack that's been really, really good for Highland will look to start it up again.
Yeah, Highland 3 drives, 3 touchdowns so far. It's been easy going for this offense. They've just picked up big play after big play after big play. And we'll see what this running game can start as it looks like Connor Cullimore is the deep back.
Herbert gives to Jacob Wood, who tries to change his direction, a spin move, and a nice power run by Wood to get about 9 yards.
Yeah, and I was mistaken. Wood and Cullimore, very similar look if you don't see the number on the jersey, but right there, Wood showed off that power. That's the reason that he starts at middle linebacker as well as running back. He's able to shed off a couple tackles. Looked like he may have been stopped after just a few yards. Did a nice job breaking away. And it looks like there's a penalty marker as this ball is getting marked back.
Now it's a hold on the Hawks, which will make it 1st and 20 from Highland's own 10-yard line. So definitely not what you want to see if you're a Hawks fan.
Yeah, and push back to their own 10-yard line here. 1st and 20.
Herbert from shotgun, rolling right. Going to give it to Wood, who shoots back to the left. Jacob Wood taking a man down with him. Gains back about 17 of those 20 yards.
Yeah, I think that defender was quickly rethinking his decision to try to get in Jacob Wood's way there as he lowered his shoulder, leveled a boom right there. That looked like a Heisman candidate type play there. Lowered his shoulder and just drove through the defender. And just like that, goes from 1st and 20 to 2nd and 5. That's a lot easier to work with.
That is some real power running there from Jacob Wood. That's something we've seen all season from him. He really is a game changer on that offensive side of the ball. Herbert snaps. Play action, looking down the middle of the field. Has Cullimore wide open, incomplete. Right through his hands had Connor Cullimore at the 40-yard line of Desert Mountain. Cullimore unable to hold on.
Yeah, and that's atypical from Cullimore. That one had touchdown written all over it as Caleb Herbert laid that ball out there beautifully. And it looked like Cullimore had it for a second, then appeared to just drop it right there at the last second. And there's no worse feeling for a receiver than having only green grass in front of you and the ball just slipping off your hands.
It looked like Cullimore beat 3 defensive backs, and that's a hard thing to do. And had he come up with that ball, that's at least another 20 yards after the play.
Well, with how strong the run game's been, the play action was really easy right there for Herbert. He had a wide open receiver.
Herbert this time the screen out to Ty Bryant. Gets a couple of blocks and gets a first down out across the 30-yard line.
Yeah, first time we've seen him get into the receiving game so far tonight. Ty Bryant, a dynamic guy, a guy who they've had punt returning a lot this season. And he's been great when he's gotten the ball in his hands. Only one touchdown this season, but he's a dynamic player if they get him the ball in a reverse or a screen like that.
Ball marked to the 32. This Hawks offense getting to the line quickly. They'll keep it on the ground with Wood. Wood gains about 5, tackled at the 36 or 37-yard line.
Yeah, nice short gain there from Wood. Again, showing the power, not going down on first contact.
8 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the half. And again, it's a play action. Herbert's going to take off on his own and will scamper out of bounds just past the 40, probably at the 43.
Yeah, nice job by Herbert there. Looked like he was trying to get a rollout and a guy going vertical, but nice coverage from Desert Mountain forces Herbert to pull it down, and he's shown some great mobility this season. He's had a rushing touchdown or two and done a great job of eluding defenders. It's just a nice job getting out of bounds, avoiding a big hit.
Herbert with a new set of downs. The snap and the give to Wood, who goes to the right side this time. Almost stripped. A good stop there by number 68, Ben Roots.
Yeah, Roots 6'5", 230, a big body there. And Wood, once again, not going down just from arm tackles from one defender, as he continues to be a nuisance for the Wolf defenders to bring down.
2nd and 4 now from the 49 of Highland. 7 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the first half, second quarter. Herbert, the give this time is to Connor Cullimore. Cullimore gets about 6 yards. Good enough again. No surprise for a Highland first down.
Yeah, I mean, all three backs tonight have been absolutely phenomenal when they get the ball in their hands. I mean, I'm not sure if there's been a single negative gain from the running backs tonight. They've constantly pushed the ball through the line. The offensive line deserves a lot of credit as well. They've taken some heat over the past few weeks for their pass blocking ability, but wow, has their run blocking been incredible. Just wide open holes for all these running backs.
Herbert in shotgun, looking to his right, but goes out to his left on a running back screen. That's Cullimore again, who gets 8 on the reception.
Yeah, what you love to see out of Cullimore and Wood tonight is they're not shying away from any contact. They are catching the ball, running up, sizing up defenders, and hitting them, similar to Leonard Fournette in the NFL a few weeks ago against the Steelers, where they're almost picking guys out and lowering the shoulder and hitting them hard.
Well, we'll remind you that the winner of this game, the 8 and 9 matchup, will take on the winner of the 1 seed Mountain Point versus 16 seed Cibola matchup. We'll try to get you that score as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah, and Mountain Point, obviously a team Highland faced earlier this season and went into the half with a 13-0 lead on, and then ended up falling late 14-13. So one of their most highly contested matchups this season, especially on the road, where more than likely if Mountain Point's the winner, that will be where the game is held next Friday night. As we've got a Highland timeout here, quick break in the action, about 6:12 remaining on the second quarter clock. As Highland faces a short second down, I would imagine this can be another quick run up the middle here. Looks like Jacob Wood is the back there, but Connor Cullimore lined up just behind the offensive line on the right side.
Well, the play action there, Herbert completes to the far side of the field, the first time to his favorite target, number 7, Tanner Lunt.
Yeah, and Herbert sat back there. Clearly his first read was down the field, and that ball was that receiver was not open running the streak. But a nice job to check it down, find his second receiver, and get a big first down either way as they're set up just outside the red zone.
Herbert again set up in shotgun formation. 2 receivers to his right, 1 to his left, but Herbert's going to have to do some work to get out of the pressure. Might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage there. As of about 7 minutes ago, according to Grady Garrett on Twitter, with 7:14 to go in the second quarter, Mountain Point leading Cibola 27-0. So unless a big comeback by Cibola happens in that second half, the winner of this game likely will be facing off against the Mountain Point Pride.
Yeah, and Mountain Point, #1 seed this year. Last season, they were runner-ups in the state championship.
Ooh, almost complete there. Herbert was trying to find Elliott Moe. Moe couldn't get back and make the catch or keep his hands on it.
Yeah, and that's got to be frustrating for Caleb Herbert. Another open receiver dropping a pass. And a tough break for Highland.
5 minutes and 39 seconds remaining. The clock has stopped after the incomplete pass. 21-14 in favor of the hometown Hawks. Herbert over the middle, complete to Cullimore, who takes a big hit. But nonetheless, Cullimore into first down territory, and it'll be first and goal for the Hawks.
Yeah, on third down, an incredible job by Cullimore, not just to catch that ball, but hold on to it. He took a shot as soon as he turned around after making that catch, and he's able to hang on to it. Looks like he may have gotten a slight injury there as he comes off the field, but more than likely he'll be okay. As it looks like Jacob Wood is now the tailback.
First and goal from the 8. I wouldn't be surprised if head coach Brock Farrell just tries to punch it in here with his power back Wood. That's not what they're going to do. It's Ty Bryant on the end around. Bryant gets maybe 2.
Yeah, and there's that Ty Bryant speed we were just talking about. As when he gets the ball in his hands in space, he is tough to bring down. Does a nice job there of spinning and just taking the short gain. Just a couple yards there. But Highland set up nicely with second and goal.
4 minutes and 49 seconds remaining in the half. Ball at the 6. Herbert double play action looking to his right, complete. And that's the big tight end, Riley Bond, for the touchdown.
And that's the first passing touchdown for Caleb Herbert on the night. A great job by Herbert to roll out there. And finally they go to the big man, Riley Bond, 245 pounds. And he rumbles his way into the end zone, put that ball out. And the Highland Hawks offense, I did not think I'd be saying this when we walked in here tonight, that they would have 28 points, have the chance to get 28 points with 4.5 minutes remaining in the first half.
Definitely something we haven't seen this year from Highland. Definitely shows also the weakness of the defense of Desert Mountain, as Austin McNamara makes it a 14-point ball game once again.
Yeah, and as we see McNamara knock that extra point through, talk a little bit about the 2 kickers tonight. Both work with the same program, the Chris Saylor kicking. And obviously Narveson, we talked about, committed to Iowa State next year. Austin McNamara, look for him to be in a similar situation next fall as he looks for a Division I team to take his kicking talents too.
McNamara has visited the likes of Utah State, recently visited Arizona State. He was there for their big upset win over Washington.
Yeah, and ASU, a great history of kickers. Just recently, Zane Gonzalez won the Kicker of the Year award in college football. So
Brandon Ruiz doesn't look too bad out of ASU either.
His own hometown team could be where he winds up.
Kickers like kicking out here because the air is so thin. The ball flies. The altitude is nice. Makes for better distance on those field goals and extra points. Play's going to be blown dead. That kick would have gone through the back of the end zone for a touchback.
Looks like it's going to be an offsides here against Highland. Somebody may have ran a little bit prematurely. As we wait for an official word. As usual, looks like a little bit of miscommunication there down among the officiating crew.
Well, it sounds about right. Nothing new. Always got to talk about something. Sometime in the game, there's always conversation. It is offsides on the Hawks. Good call, Alex. So Highland's got to back up 5 yards, but not sure that's going to be quite a huge deal for McNamara.
Yeah, McNamara usually goes about 3 to 4, maybe 5 yards deep in the end zone. So we'll see here if this ball, he can still kick it all the way down there, as now he lines up from the 35 instead of the 40. As you mentioned, McNamara, a very strong leg. Despite his slender frame, 8 made field goals this season in 13 tries.
McNamara's kick will be fielded around the 3-yard line. That's Nick Hill, who is going to go out of bounds just shy of the 30.
Yeah, so right there, if he had kicked that from the 40-yard line with the same distance, that would have been caught in the end zone. But nonetheless, the Highland defense has played well, all things considered tonight. Just 14 points so far from this high-powered offense. Look for guys like Mason Romero to continue to keep up the physical play in the secondary.
Well, Keaton Slow is going to set up under center, sends Brandon Crone in motion, looking to his left, and he'll complete it out to Crone on the screen. Nice tackle
by
number 22, Mason Romero.
This is going to be a huge block in the back penalty on Josh Walker. I wish we had a replay. That was about the most egregious block in the back I have ever seen on a football field. He completely jumped on the back of the Highland defender and drove him 5 yards. This will be an easy 10-yard penalty right in front of the official.
Well, they'll call it a holding penalty.
Block in the back, holding, no matter what. He pushed the guy into the ground. Easy call for the officiating crew.
Still ends up a 10-yard penalty. And that is from the spot of the foul, we are learning. So 1st and 17 now from the 21. Just over 4 minutes to go in the second half.
Yeah, look for a bubble screen out to the right side here as they line up with trips to the right.
Well, Slovis completes to Maximus Walker. Walker gets a couple of those yards back, about 9 or 10. Let's see where they mark the ball.
Yeah, that's been a continued strategy all night. They line up with trips receivers and stack them all up like that, have them all run different routes. Very hard to keep up with as a defense.
Well, 2nd and 7 is what the scoreboard reads, so 10 yards on the reception. Slovis pump fakes to his right, gives to Hill, and is immediately stuffed by Jake Trejo.
Yeah, Trejo, the big senior defensive end, does a great job of tracking that play down and stopping it short. And now a 3rd and long here once again for Desert Mountain. They're going to be in a throwing down the field situation.
Just under 3 minutes to go in the half, 28-14 in favor of the Highland Hawks. Slovis set up in shotgun. Sends Walker to his right. Slovis has to fire it away to the Desert Mountain sideline, incomplete.
Yeah, and just a great pressure there once again from the Highland defensive line. You can't say enough about them as they've continued to just harass Keaton Slovis all night and force him to throw passes where he wouldn't have wanted to throw it there, as he had to throw that away on 3rd down and force his punting unit to come out once again. As Connor Cullimore back deep to receive this punt.
It's a 4th and 8. Braden Narvison back out onto the field to kick it away for Desert Mountain almost blocked.
Yeah, that was Daniel Wood once again getting in there, nearly blocking that.
Cullimore is going to let it bounce out of bounds just shy of the 25-yard line, which is where the Hawks will start their next drive. 2:28 to go. So if Brock Farrell and Caleb Herbert can manage the clock correctly, they can take this drive right into the half.
Yeah, we'll see what Caleb Herbert, they're obviously going to be throwing it a little bit more on this drive unless they can really get some long runs. As with just one timeout remaining, they're going to have to use the sidelines and get first downs, try to keep the clock stopped while they continue to move the ball up the field. As Huffman's the tailback.
Herbert takes the snap. It's Jacob Wood who gets the carry. Wood gets about 6 or 7 yards. They're going to call it 8, 2nd and 2 from the 37.
Yeah, my mistake there. Caleb Herbert and Dayton Huffman have very similar sleeves on. Easy mistake there. Jacob Wood, great carry.
Wood now set up in the slot position. Herbert looking to that side. Now he's going to scamper through the middle and slides at the 45-yard line. Good for a Highland first down.
Beautiful slide there from Caleb Herbert as he's able to, saw the pressure coming up from the outside, is able to tuck that down, go up the middle, and get an easy first down there.
Herbert bringing some skills from the baseball field. Herbert also a shortstop for the Hawks. As that one is completed to number 19, Cody Zimmerman. Gain of about 4 yards.
Yeah, we're just about a minute and a half to go here, so plenty of time here as they've gotten just about midfield. At the very least, you want to set Austin McNamara up with a good field goal position.
Herbert over the middle, complete. And Cody Zimmerman might have just fumbled the ball. Let's see what they call it. It looked like he was down on contact. I'm not quite sure about that call, but they're going to give it to Desert Mountain.
Looked like Riley Tucker, the junior, recovered that, and that's a tough break there as he caught the ball. It appeared to be ripped out of his hands as he came down. Looked like he may not have completed the process fully of that catch, but that is a tough break for the Hawks, the first turnover for this offense. And now Keaton Slova is set up with good field position and 75 seconds to try to make this a one-score game before halftime.
Yeah, well, that is the good news for the Hawks. Just a minute and 15 seconds to go until halftime. Keaton Slovis going to have to mount a nice drive here to get his team into the end zone and potentially put them down by just 7 points heading into the half. Slovis looking to his right, has to fire to the middle of the field, incomplete. Almost sacked there on the play by the Highland defensive line.
Yeah, Noah Evans with some great push there. Did a nice job spinning off the offensive lineman trying to block him and being able to hit Slovis as he tried to throw that ball, which is why it ended up being bounced to the receiver.
The incomplete pass shaves 5 seconds off the clock, a minute and 10 until the half. Slovis from shotgun formation looking to his right, completes over the middle. It's number 81, Brandon Crone.
Yeah, and able to move the chains, briefly stop the clock. Desert Mountain with 2 timeouts as we're just over a minute to go. Another screen here.
Slovis completes to Nick Hill, who tries to change direction again. Looks like he does so successfully and is finally tackled out of bounds around the 42-yard line. They might call a late hit there on number 22, Mason Romero.
Yeah, that would be an odd call. It looked like he was trying to get out of bounds, but it's not like he drilled him and knocked him way out of bounds. But that is a tough break for the Hawks. That's a big gain. You don't want 15-yard penalties in the 2-minute drill as a defense. As this will move the ball to the 26-yard line. And with 46 seconds left, at this point, at worst, there's no doubt that Braden Narvison could drill a 43-yard field goal if need be.
Slovis, a couple of men in motion to his right. Has trips out to that side. Slovis looking across the middle. A nice hit by Connor Cullimore, and he is pumped up after that one.
Yeah, and he rocked, looked like Luke Donovan there, one of the captains for this Desert Mountain team. And that was just perfectly timed by Cullimore, and he laid the boom right there on first down.
42 seconds to go until the half, 2nd and 10. After the big hit by Connor Cullimore, again proving that he is a triple threat for this team.
Yeah, and I would imagine that Josh Walker, they're going to try and get him involved here as he's got 7 catches tonight. Haven't heard his name in a while, though.
Slovis under pressure, has to fire it away. Almost intercepted. A couple of tip drills there. Tipped by the Wolves 2 or 3 times, but pass ultimately falls incomplete. 35 seconds to go until the half. 3rd and 10.
Yeah, and Slovis barely able to get that off before he was hit. And a great job by the Highland secondary to keep that from being a potential tip pass completion.
Slovis looking right. Complete to Josh Walker. So that's catch number 8 for him on the night.
Yeah, and that's enough for a first down as we're under 30 seconds now. Wolves have held their 2 timeouts. I'd imagine they may have to use one coming up here as the clock starts to roll once again.
Pass complete to Reichelt, who gets out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. They're going to mark it at the 9 with 19 seconds to go. Let's see what Desert Mountain can draw up here. Plenty of time to get in the end zone. 2nd and 7. That's what it reads.
As still getting the play call in from the sideline for the Wolves. Slovis gets back to his huddle. Quickly break here. And I would imagine Nick Hill is going to find the ball in his hands one way or another on this play.
Slovis looking right into the end zone. A sliding catch made by Josh Walker. Touchdown, Desert Mountain.
Yeah, and
so the Wolves really catch a break on that drive as it looks like Tate Stevens injured his hand on the play.
Looks like maybe an official timeout as Stevens slowly comes off the field.
See him at the bottom of your screen there, number 42, Daniel Wood coming in for him.
Yeah, and Josh Walker, they find a way to give him the ball once again. That's the 2nd touchdown we've seen tonight. And that trims to a 1-score game just in the nick of time for the Wolves.
The extra point up and through. So the Wolves make it a 7-point game with 14 seconds remaining in the half. So the Hawks may be able to get maybe 2 or 3 plays off before both teams head into the locker room and try to draw something up for next half.
Yeah, and Walker finding the end zone his 2nd time, and he's just 1 touchdown away from 20 on the season, which is really a phenomenal number when you think about a guy who's a receiver. Now, 16 total receiving touchdowns, but still, it's been an awesome year for Josh Walker. Keaton Slovis now over 30 touchdown passes on the season. And as we've got just 14 seconds left in this half, a lot of things to talk about coming up in our halftime show.
Oh, and a score update on that Mountain Point Cibola game, who the winner of tonight's game will play the winner of that game. Right now it's all Mountain Point. Score 37-0 at the half. So if that one isn't practically over, I'm not sure what practically over means.
Yeah, I mean, one more field goal there, and they'll get a running clock going. So a tough night for Cibola, but, yeah, it looks like next week we will see a playoff game at Mountain Point for one of these two teams.
They kick away from Narveson out the back of the end zone for a touchback.
And I'd imagine that you're just going to see a run here, and then Highland just wants to get to the half as they started with the football. It'll be interesting to see whether or not they decide to have Caleb Herbert try to throw it, as you got 80 yards in just 14 seconds. Not exactly the easiest for this Highland offense, but nonetheless an incredible first half from Highland as a whole. And once again, as we mentioned, looks like they're in the victory formation, kneel-down formation, as there it is.
So at the half, as both teams will just about jog into the locker room as the clock is at 2-1 and now 0-0. The Hawks lead the Wolves by a score of 28-21. So both offenses really coming out and showing what they've got tonight. We'll be right back with our halftime show right after this. Back now here at the Nest at Highland High School, the Hawks go into the half leading the Desert Mountain Wolves by a score of 28-21. Really, two really good offenses coming out tonight and showing what they've got. Desert Mountain, however, the offense that has really been the premier offense the whole season, trailing tonight against Highland.
Yeah, the Highland defense has really been great tonight so far. This offense for Desert Mountain came in, obviously, as we mentioned earlier, scoring 35 points a game, and they were held to just 21 so far. Now, granted, that is quite a few points, as we scored 49 total between the two teams the first half. As we mentioned at the beginning, this is going to be a high-scoring game all the way down to the end, as Keaton Slovis throws 3 touchdown passes in the first half, 2 of them to Joshua Walker. And as we mentioned earlier, Walker and Slovis were the 2 impact players, whereas for Highland, Jacob Wood had that phenomenal touchdown to open up the game for Highland. And then Dayton Huffman kind of came out of nowhere, had a incredible run, darted down the field for what was over a 60-yard touchdown. So, I mean, what do you see here in the second half as an adjustment for Desert Mountain?
Well, Desert Mountain's really got to get more long yardage completions to Joshua Walker. I mean, we've got 8 so far in the game, but none more pivotal than that touchdown that he's got. That's the only one that he's got in the game. So I think if Desert Mountain's going to do anything tonight, they have to find Josh Walker in the open field.
Yeah, and Desert Mountain was able to even up the turnover battle as Tate Stevens had that early interception. They were able to rip the ball out of the hands of the Highland receiver there and get the fumble of their own. So a tough play there, and that's what led to the touchdown that is the reason that we have a 1 touchdown deficit at the half for Desert Mountain. So in the second half, look for the turnover battle to be the deciding factor as these two teams come in. Highland forced 25 turnovers this season. Desert Mountain's forced just 11. So if Desert Mountain can force a couple, maybe pick Caleb Herbert, or again rip the ball out for a fumble, they could be back in action here. And they're going to have to find some way to slow down this Highland running game, as I'm sure they're up over 150 yards. We don't have actual stats in front of us, but it was a phenomenal. Keaton Slovis as well with 3 touchdowns. I imagine he's up over 150 yards. So we may see some records broken tonight with the pace this game is going at. And this Desert Mountain defense, if they don't make adjustments, Highland could be creeping up into the 40, 50 point range as this game winds down.
Well, the summary of all that, it has been a shootout, and we can expect more of it in the second half. The Hawks 28, the Wolves 21. We'll see you after the half.
halftime.
Back now at Highland High School at the beginning of the second half. It's been a shootout so far. The Hawks lead the Wolves 28-21. And for either of these teams, well, I guess for Highland, the offense hasn't really been this potent all year. But for the Wolves, this is actually a little bit of a disappointment. We came out expecting Desert Mountain to put up a little bit, maybe even more points before the half. As Braden Narveson boots it away into the end zone for a touchback. The story of the night so far has been, without a doubt, Highland's offense and the way that they've been able to take advantage of Desert Mountain's subpar defense. Obviously, Desert Mountain coming into the game allowing 2 over 60-point opponents in the regular season as Caleb Herbert gets ready to go. Herbert hands off to Dayton Huffman, who gains about 5 yards. And I start to the second half for Highland.
Yeah, they go right to Dayton Huffman, who had a really phenomenal first half, especially as we mentioned at the halftime, an unbelievable long touchdown run, which the highlights will be up later on YouTube. But, I mean, unbelievable breakaway speed from Dayton Huffman.
Herbert takes a snap, and again it's Huffman. Huffman finding room up the middle. Gains about 10 yards. Good for a Hawks first down.
Yeah, and right there, Huffman, that acceleration is what's really impressive from Huffman, is he is able to get up to full speed just like that in the snap of a finger. And a big first down there as Highland gets their first drive of the second half going strong.
Herbert again lining up in shotgun formation. The snap, and they're going to give it to Huffman for the third straight play. Huffman breaking a tackle. Finally goes down in Desert Mountain territory, just shy of the Desert Mountain 45-yard line.
Yeah, and if Huffman wasn't already in triple digits of rushing yards today, that certainly had to have pushed him over. And you can see that flow in his picture. This kid is a fun guy, but he is a hard worker, and right there he's showing it on the field as his incredible speed is on full display.
Well, Huffman will get the play off as Herbert will go under center. They're going to give the ball to Jacob Wood this time. And the rushing attack of Highland, that three-headed monster that we came to know and love at the beginning of the season, really taking effect early here in the second half as Jacob Wood gains 6 yards, 2nd and 4 at the 40.
Yeah, and the combination of Wood and Huffman tonight has been really hard to stop for Desert Mountain. I'm not sure if they had to sit down and think about that in the locker room during halftime, but we'll see. The adjustments clearly haven't shown so far.
Herbert calls Tanner Lunt in shotgun. In motion, and Tanner Lunt takes the ball in the end around. Spins and is tackled. Let's see if he got enough for the first down. Looks like they'll mark the ball around the 35-yard line.
Yeah, you don't see Tanner Lunt often get those reverse handoffs that Highland loves to run so much, but a nice job there of getting a cut up the field and turning what almost was a loss on the play into a first down as Highland continues to methodically move down the field.
Ball marked at the 35-yard line. And again, Alex, it's been this rushing attack that's really been the brunt of the offense for the Hawks. Herbert under center. And the end around to Connor Cullimore. Cullimore loses 5 yards. A nice job by number 81, the defensive end, Brandon Crone, also a wide receiver for Desert Mountain, to make that play off the edge.
Yeah, and that was tough there. Cullimore, if he had gotten around the edge there, that could have been a big gain, as there weren't a lot of Wolf defenders on that side of the field. And just a tough break there. Cullimore tripped up by his feet there. And a 5-yard loss sets up the Hawks with tough field position on second down.
2nd and 5 from the 40. Herbert again setting up in shotgun formation, trips to his right, and two receivers to his left. He goes to that side, complete to number 8, Elliott Moe.
Yeah, great catch by Moe. That ball was definitely thrown behind him. Does a nice job of adjusting in the air and hauling that one in for a nice gain to make it 3rd down and 6.
Eight minutes and 47 seconds to go in the third quarter. Looks like Herbert and the Hawks setting up in the same formation as they did last play. Trips to the right, 2 receivers to Herbert's left. Herbert looking right, stepping up, and is sacked. And again, that's number 81, Brandon Crone.
Yeah, and Crone has made some nice catches on offense, but this possession, it was all him on defense. As he's able to take Herbert down, he had the tackle in the backfield a few plays ago on Connor Cullimore. And it looks like they will force Austin McNamara onto the field for a punting situation. So tough first drive for Herbert and the Hawk offense.
Well, it's a 4th and 9. McNamara is out to punt. Ball is at the 34, so it's going to have to be a high punt.
Yeah, this would have been about a 51-yard field goal attempt, so.
Now the officials will blow the play dead.
Looks like a timeout taken by the Wolves. Their first time out of the half there, so looks like they may have been thrown off by the punt formation for Highland. But either way, that's a strategic play there by the Hawks to force the hand of Dave Sedmak and force him to burn one of his 3 precious timeouts.
Yeah, definitely not something you want to do here early on in the third quarter. I mean, you're down by 7 right now, getting the ball back, albeit, but with 3 timeouts and being down coming into the second half, I would assume that you'd like to try to preserve those timeouts for situations later in the game where you might really need them to stop the clock or to talk about miscommunications with your team.
Yeah, so we'll see McNamara line up once again the punt formation as they've got a stacked unit there. Now they spread everybody out. And it looks like they are stacked on the left side.
Gotta wonder if there might be a fake play coming here on 4th and 9. McNamara looking to pass, and it's intercepted. So I guess I saw that one coming. The interception there by Riley Tucker. McNamara trying to complete the pass to number 9, Riley Bond.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that call there. It's a nice idea to try to go for the fake punt, especially when you're in this kind of field position, but Austin McNamara just did not get a good throw there. The receivers were actually well covered, as it looked like Desert Mountain may have realized that there was a fake coming by the way the formation was laid out. And surprising to see Highland go back to that after Desert Mountain called the timeout to reset against that play.
Well, Keaton Slovis takes over at the 18-yard line. And on the delayed handoff, Nick Hill will be tackled in the backfield for a loss.
Yeah, and penetration by Jake Trejo, as you see him pop up on your screen, number 54. He has been as important as anybody on the field for Highland so far. The penetration he's been able to get consistently on the offensive line has allowed this Hawks defense to consistently push Desert Mountain back.
Jake Trejo, you see him on your screen with that big club on his right hand, reminiscent of when Clay Matthews had that big hand injury a couple of years ago with the Packers. Every time I see a club like that in college football, high school football, even in the NFL, it takes me back to when Clay Matthews almost did break his hand as Slovis is rolling right. Did he complete that pass to Joshua Walker? Yes, he did. So that's now 9 catches to Josh Walker. And as we mentioned in the halftime show, Desert Mountain is really going to have to be able to find him in open field situations to get their offense moving along again.
Yeah, it looked like Bryden Horn was applying the pressure there coming off the edge for Highland. He nearly got to Slovis. Slovis continued to roll to his right and was able at the last second to get that off and completed to Mr. Walker. We'll see what they draw up here on 3rd and 4. I'd imagine the ball is going to be in the hands of either Nick Hill or Josh Walker in some way, shape, or form.
Keaton Slovis under center on 3rd and 4. Play action rolling out, completes to Maximus Walker, who is taken down close to the sideline by number 22, Mason Romero.
Yeah, and right there, a nice play design there on the play action. Get everybody to bite up on one way, and it looks like a late flag maybe going against Jake Trejo as he appeared to be jarring with some of the Wolf defenders.
And they will call an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against the Hawks. That'll cost them 15 yards.
Yeah, it looks like it went against number 54, Jake Trejo. So I'm not sure what was said or done there, as we didn't really get a good look. That was well away from the play. And there's definitely some trash talk going on between the Desert Mountain offensive line and the Highland defensive line, as the battle in the trenches has been big so far in this game.
Well, and that's as expected in an 8-seed versus 9-seed playoff game. As we mentioned earlier, one of the more closely matched resumes, as they give the ball to Nick Hill, who is stopped after a gain of about 3. But emotions generally run wild in these kinds of playoff games, especially between two teams that are so close statistically.
Yeah, and not just that, but two teams who maybe feeling the pressure a little bit. Highland specifically, having not been in the playoffs for a long time and having no playoff wins for 9 seasons. It would be a great story for this Highland, as Jake Trejo already back into the game at defensive line. It would be a great story for Highland to be able to come out and win this game if they can hang on, but Desert Mountain is not going down easy.
It'll be their first playoff win since 2008. Slovis passes over the middle, complete to Hill, who breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle, and is finally taken down on the edge by Mason Romero.
Yeah, and I think Jacob Wood was the guy there who nearly had a chance to take Nick Hill down, as he continues to be tough to bring down on first contact. Almost every play he's able to bounce off defenders.
Yeah, you see the correction on your screen. Jalen Johnson, the guy who took down Nick Hill there. 3rd and 5 now for the Wolves. Slovis sends Max White in motion, now rolling to his right, looking to find a man. Fires down the sideline, incomplete. Bring up a 4th and 5.
Yeah, it looked like he was going for Walker there, but Connor Cullimore and Tyler T. Brady were in coverage. And it appears that it'll be Braden Narvison and the punt unit for the Wolves taking the field here.
That's a great sign for Brock Farrell's team, especially after that fake punt really could have burned you. And the way it looks for Highland, they're going to get the ball back and be able to drive down the field without any harm being done. Narvison punts from the 41-yard line, and they're not going to kick it anywhere near Connor Cullimore as the ball bounces out around the 30-yard line.
Yeah, uncharacteristic here. Both of Braden Narvison's punt attempts have not really been as impressive as you'd imagine from a guy who is a commit to a big-time program like Iowa State, who's really been an upstart, especially this season. So another chance for Caleb Herbert in the offense to take the field and try to extend their lead, as we are over halfway through the 3rd quarter already.
4 minutes and 23 seconds remaining to be exact, as Caleb Herbert sets up under shotgun with a man to his right and 2 to his left, but it's going to be Dayton Huffman who takes the carry. Gets about 11 yards, good for a Hawks first down. And man, has Dayton Huffman been incredible tonight.
Yeah, and if I'm calling the plays for the Hawks the rest of the way, I'm trying to find the way to get the ball in Dayton Huffman's hands almost every single play, as it seems like every single time he touches the ball, he's getting 6, 7, 8 yards, if not more.
Herbert now going to give to Huffman again, who finds some space up the middle. Huffman a gain of 9 on that one.
And just as we mentioned, it doesn't seem to stop for Dayton Huffman, as he is tallying an impressive yardage total as that gets the ball to about midfield. And if they keep giving the ball to him, Desert Mountain's going to have to find a way to adjust and slow him down. And once again, Huffman, carrier. And that looked to be just enough for a first down. Yep, and the referees will signal that is a first down for the Hawks.
Sorry, Alex, trying to find some information on what Dayton Huffman's done tonight, because it really has been incredible how many yards he's been able to amass on the ground. I don't think he has a pass. I don't think he's caught a pass tonight either. And we know that Dayton Huffman is a guy that can do that, as Caleb Herbert has to scramble and gets about 5 yards.
Yeah, and if you're a Highland fan, you have to cringe a little bit when Caleb Herbert pulls that down, tries to run straight up the middle, as a slender quarterback. You see on the screen just 158 pounds on his frame. And these Desert Mountain defenders, whenever they see a quarterback running, they are looking to take his head off. And right there, Herbert does a nice job not coughing up the ball, getting a short gain.
Herbert's going to give to Cullimore, who again, we talked about it all night, and it's even more apparent in this third quarter. This Highland rushing attack has been incredible, and Connor Cullimore gets a first down there for the Hawks just to further that claim.
Yeah, and this tandem of juniors, Cullimore and Huffman, it's really impressive. Not just that they're doing this year, but they were also starters on varsity last year. Cullimore is the team's leading rusher as a sophomore, and these two will be back for one more season, and it'll be scary to see what those two can put together.
Herbert again gives to Cullimore. Cullimore finding the edge, cuts back towards the middle of the field. Connor Cullimore finally tackled at around the 12-yard line. And Alex, with this running game being so good, the Hawks are giving us a lot to talk about while still giving us barely anything to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been the same thing over and over again. It seems like just a snap out of the shotgun, a handoff, and these backs are just making plays. Connor Cullimore, really impressive was his patience right there. He was able to cut back. He took the right hole. He slowed that down, got an extra 10 yards. If he had just kept running straight up the field, he would have been stopped short. Really impressive footwork from Connor Cullimore.
Looks like Brock Farrell and Caleb Herbert flipping the play here. Herbert again, the give to Jacob Wood, who sprawls over the end zone and in for the touchdown.
Yeah, so that's the second touchdown tonight for Jacob Wood. As right there on that drive, you see the example of just how multifaceted this Highland offense is. All three of this trio of tailbacks we've talked about all season touch the ball there. All of them big plays. Wood, obviously, just the one carry, but the one that matters the most is he punches into the end zone. And we said that Desert Mountain was going to have to find a way to adjust to stopping this running game. It didn't really seem like they did much in this halftime there. That was an easy touchdown drive.
McNamara, kick up and good for the extra point as Highland makes it a 35-21 game on a great drive there, highlighted by the three-headed monster of Connor Cullimore, Dayton Huffman, and Jacob Wood.
Yeah, and a quick score update for those fans at home. Desert Ridge, the number 2 seed in the 6A bracket, trails number 15 seed Westview 16-7 in the fourth quarter. That would be a major upset in the bracket, as Desert Ridge team we saw just last week beat this Highland Hawks team 21-7.
Oh, that Westview team, Highland also played, and Highland gave the Knights a pretty good whooping in that one. So, that gives it even more of a reason for it to be an upset. I mean, two losing against a 15 seed.
Yeah, and actually just got another update via Twitter from Zach Alvira. Westview extends lead to 23-7 with 5:33 left in the fourth quarter on a 2-yard touchdown. So,
wow.
If that result holds, that would be by far the upset of the night. As we saw earlier, Mountain Point, Perry, and Chandler were all blowing out their respective opponents. So we'll see if Desert Ridge can bring it up late, but we saw that's a really talented team.
Well, if memory serves me correctly, Westview went 5-5 on the season, as Nick Hill is unable to make the catch on that kickoff, so it'll be a touchback. Westview went 5-5 this year, but they won their division because they went 5-0 against all of the teams in their division. That's what got them into the playoffs as the 15 seed, and boy, it looks like they're playing some inspired football.
Yeah, I don't know what. Maybe they were eating something different in the cereal this week or something like that. But yeah, when we saw them play, it was not a close game. So that'll be an interesting score to monitor over the next few minutes here.
They must be putting something different in their lunches over there in Avondale, Arizona. As that one's completed to the far sideline to Nick Hill. Hill runs around a little bit, good enough for a Desert Mountain first down.
Yeah, I mean, good pressure from the D-line there, but Slovis has just been better tonight. He's been able to step up in the pocket and complete passes. Nick Hill, once again, wide open. Nick Hill, what's been impressive about him tonight, he always seems to find an opening in the defense and be wide open for a safety valve for his quarterback. So you have to think a quarterback like Slovis loves a guy like Nick Hill.
Slovis, the pitch outside this time to Nick Hill, who's trying to make something happen. A nice hit there by number 42, Tate Stevens, to knock Hill down. Gain of about 7 yards.
Yeah, and Jake Trejo, nice job chasing him down there. As Nick Hill and Josh Walker have been impressive as we imagined, as the two who are expected to attend Division I, Division II schools next fall. As we're closing in on the end of this third quarter.
This third quarter's really gone by pretty quickly, Alex.
It's been amazing. It's a lot of running the football.
Slovis fires out to his right, complete to Josh Walker, who fights for some extra yardage. And I believe for Josh Walker, that puts him in double digits tonight in terms of receptions. That's his 10th of the game.
Yeah, so he definitely slowed down his pace as he has 5 catches on the first drive, including that touchdown. So we'll see how this fourth quarter goes, but I'd imagine that Josh Walker will end up with more than 10 catches. Imagine more like 12, 13, 14, especially as Desert Mountain tries to climb back from a 14-point deficit.
Well, we've got a running tally up here. Josh Walker, one of the Players of the Year candidates. As the run is stopped there by Highland, but Walker really a guy not receiving as much national recognition as he should be. As we mentioned earlier, has a couple of offers from UC Davis and the Naval Academy, but this guy really is able to make a difference, especially for this Desert Mountain team who is so pass savvy.
Yeah, and you'd have to imagine that their offensive scheme is very well put together. As we mentioned, some great a great football mind in that offensive huddle for Desert Mountain with Kurt Warner. But Josh Walker, if I don't see this guy playing on Saturdays next year at a Division I school, I'm going to be really, really surprised. Now, he may redshirt, but in a few years, if I don't see him eventually on a Division I football field, I will be really shocked. This guy has been phenomenal all night long and all season long, as if he keeps this night up tonight, he may end up with 1,300 receiving yards for the season, which would be a phenomenal feat, and by far, he is the leader in 6A among receivers.
But when you look at this Desert Mountain team, it's pretty star-studded. We talked about Walker. We talked about Nick Hill, who has an offer from Adams State. Also the punter and kicker Braden Narvison, who is committed to Iowa State. But a guy that hasn't really made his name into the broadcast tonight is Luke Donovan, one of the captains of this Wolves team. He's a strong safety and a wide receiver. Donovan offered a preferred walk-on position at the Ohio State University, so that's definitely not something to shake off either.
Yeah, that's one of my least favorite things in the world, the fact they call themselves the Ohio State University. But, yeah, what a phenomenal football program, and he could be in there with 5-star quarterback Tate Martell next year if all things go well for him.
Slovis's pass there complete to Brandon Crone. Just short of the first down, 3rd and 1.
Yeah, and the cowbell coming in here. We've got a short 3rd down. The crowd is into it. They are loud. This is going to be Jake Trejo up the middle as they try to run this ball.
Looks like they're going to give him enough there. Nick Hill gains about 2, good enough for a Wolves first down.
Yeah, and that was about the most predictable play call you're going to see in this game tonight, as on 3rd and 1, the only time this team appears to really go under center is when they're running the ball straight up the middle. And right there, a tough play there, as he just got about a yard more than he needed to. And the chains move once again.
Well, Highland's defense has been good at stopping this Desert Mountain offense when it's needed to, as the play will be blown dead there.
Looks like a Desert Mountain timeout, which would be their 2nd of the half. So, and once again, this seems like the Andy Reid school of timeout management, as in a close game, especially, a team that's trailing in this game, you really want to have your timeouts late, and burning 2 before the 10-minute mark in the 4th quarter is just sort of puzzling as a fan watching this game, and as a broadcaster, that you really need your timeouts late if you want to come back in a game, especially when you're throwing the ball consistently.
Well, that third quarter went by so quickly that we failed to even mention that it is now the fourth quarter. You can see it on your screen there, up in the top right-hand corner. 10:54 remaining in the third, so already over a minute into the quarter. But as you were mentioning, Alex, yeah, you really, if you're Desert Mountain, I mean, burning 2 timeouts for the 10-minute mark in the fourth quarter when you're down 14 points, I mean, I just think that's nothing against Dave Sedmak, but I just think that's ill-advised, especially in this caliber of a game. It's a playoff game, and you're playing a team that you're supposedly supposed to go toe-to-toe with on paper. Hasn't been quite the case tonight as the Hawks lead by 14. Slovis completes to the outside, and a nice tackle there by Jalen Johnson. Completed to Maximus Walker.
Yeah, we don't say his name a lot as for tackles, Jalen Johnson, but that was a phenomenal form tackle there. He sized him up and wrapped him up and took him down. Really impressive play by the senior, as what could have possibly been a broken play there, as that was another one-on-one situation for Johnson. Does a nice job making the tackle.
It's a 2-yard gain. 2nd and 8 from the 37. Slovis looking to his right and completes to Hill, but is stopped by Tate Stevens and Tyler T. Brady.
Yeah, big hit there from Tate Stevens to bring up the 3rd down here. And once again, this atmosphere, it's an electric playoff atmosphere here. And as we're now under 10 minutes left in this fourth quarter, if Desert Mountain can't find a way to put some points on the board on this possession, it could really minimize their chances of victory as this game comes to a close.
9 minutes and 36 seconds to go in the ball game. Desert Mountain trying to keep their playoff hopes alive as Nick Hill receives the pass. Taken down by Mason Romero inside the red zone. So Desert Mountain, just when they needed it most, looks like they're in business yet again.
Yeah, another short throw there from Keaton Slovis, and another first down. Nick Hill has been absolutely phenomenal. He's got a ton of total yards. Once again, we don't have a live tracker in front of us, but I would imagine he's up over 150 total yards in this game at this point, and that puts him in the red zone here in first down. And I would imagine he's going to continue to get the ball, and then some way or shape or form, Josh Walker's going to find the ball in his hands.
Slovis sends Hill out in motion to his right. That's who we'll throw to on the screen. And Nick Hill finding some room. Tackled nicely by Mason Romero inside the 10 at around the 6 or 7 yard line.
Yeah, they ran a swing pass there to Nick Hill as he came out off the right side. Nice job by Slovis to get the ball in his hands for another first down. It's first down and goal now. So look for something straight up the middle on a run or a play action. Obviously, number 5, Joshua Walker, has to be covered here as he lines up on the far left of the defense, covered by Dayton Huffman.
Flag on the play. Might be a false start on the offense. Let's see what they call. Well, Desert Mountain is moving back. And we'll wait for the call. It is a false start on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. That will move Desert Mountain back to the 12. So maybe now the play call a little bit different for Dave Sedmak. Might be looking to maybe a fade corner route by Josh Walker.
Yeah, he once again is out on the left, so it's one-on-one between him and Dayton Huffman, who's been the star of the night on offense. So a really star-studded matchup on the outside. We'll see who wins here.
Incomplete there as Slovis was looking for the corner. It wasn't Walker, but it was number 25, Armand Reichelt.
Yes, they did throw the fade, as you were saying, but surprisingly not to Josh Walker there. And great coverage by Jalen Johnson. The fade is one of the toughest routes in football to cover one-on-one as a defender. And Jalen Johnson, just phenomenal form there to be able to keep that ball out of the hands of Armand Reichelt.
Got to admit, Alex, a great job by Jalen Johnson not to commit a penalty in the end zone there either. As Slovis takes the snap, looks left, looking for Walker. Incomplete, no flag. Nice job by Dayton Huffman on the coverage, as well as number 43, Cole Porter.
Yeah, that looked like a timing route to Maximus Walker there, and that's phenomenal coverage. I mean, a tough throw, and looks like a penalty against Desert Mountain on top of it. It's going to be an illegal shift against the Wolves, so they'll be pushed back to, looks like about the 17-yard line.
With 8 minutes to go in the ball game and one timeout, I'm sure Dave Sedmak surely isn't looking for these kinds of penalties as they're trying to pound the ball into the end zone to make this game a 7-point game again. Second and goal from the 17. Slovis looking to the far side. Incomplete. Again, nice coverage by Dayton Huffman.
Yeah, he went after his big target, Brandon Crone there, who I would have imagined fade route would have been the target too, as he is 6'4", 210. It'll bring up 3rd down and 17 yards to the goal here. As we're just under 8 minutes left in this game. Time is coming close to being a factor here for Desert Mountain as they need points on this possession.
Third and goal from the 17. Keaton Slovis trying to get his team into the end zone. And he is swallowed up behind the line. A great job by the Highland defense and number 80, Dallin Clement.
Yeah, and a huge sack there by Dallin Clement. 260-pounder bursting through the line there and giving Slovis no time to throw that ball. And now an interesting decision here for Dave Sedmak. Obviously, you're down by 2 touchdowns, but there's still 7.5 minutes left in this game. You've got a field goal kicker who's drilled 10 field goals this season in Braden Narvison and is a Division I commit, and yet they will keep their offense on the field here on 4th down.
Slovis looking to his left, trying to find the end zone. Picked off by who other than Dayton Huffman, who has been the star of the game for the Highland Hawks.
Yeah, somebody get that man a game ball. No one has had a bigger impact on this game tonight than Dayton Huffman. His speed, not just on the offense, but on defense, he saw that interception coming the whole way, sized it up, leapt up, and made a beautiful catch as that ball was nearly in the hands of Maximus Walker. So Highland will take over here.
An unbelievable job by Dayton Huffman. Is that him again? That's Jacob Wood. You know, they all look alike, Alex. It's hard to tell who's getting the carries out there because they're all so consistent.
Yeah, each of these guys finding ways to get big gains, and that's why they're all so evenly matched in terms of yards rushing this season, as Wood, 460 yards, Cullimore, 360 yards. All 3 of these guys are over 300 yards rushing on the season. And obviously Huffman tonight, I would imagine, has surpassed Connor Cullimore with his phenomenal performance.
After that run by Wood, it's 1st and 10 from the 35. Wood gets the ball again, going towards the outside, a flag on the play. Wood gets about 6 yards before he's tackled to the ground. However, it's a holding penalty on the Hawks. That'll make it 1st and 20 from the 25.
So looks like there's a penalty here. It's a hold against the Hawks, which will push them back to the 28-yard line.
So just over 6 minutes remaining in this first round of the 6A playoffs between the Highland Hawks and the Desert Mountain Wolves. Hawks up by 14, 35-21, as Jacob Wood receives the carry on 1st and 17. Gain of about 2 makes it 2nd and 15 from the 30.
Yeah, and at this point in the game, I would have to imagine that there won't be many more passes from Caleb Herbert unless absolutely necessary. A big game tonight on the ground. No need to have Caleb Herbert throwing the ball into potential interception windows.
Another handoff to Wood, and another big gain there for Highland. It'll be 3rd and short after a gain of about 7 yards. They're going to give him 9, 3rd and 4. Correction, 11.
Yeah, and a nice every single play it seems like it's been 5 or 6 yards on the ground. Without the penalties, besides the penalties, the running game has been absolutely dominant this entire game. As we come up to a short 3rd down. And you have to imagine that this will be a handoff to Jacob Wood.
There it is. You called it.
Oh.
It's been nothing other the rest of the game. Excuse me, the whole game. Good enough for a Hawks first down, as Highland just trying to burn some clock here, I would imagine. 4 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the ballgame.
Yeah, a pivotal first down converted there by Jacob Wood, the senior. And I don't think anybody more than Wood in this group of seniors wants to bring a playoff win to Highland for the first time since 2008.
Well, and Desert Mountain is going to be forced to take their 3rd timeout. Or are they? Let's see. That might have been an official timeout there. Looks like that's what it was. So no timeout charged to the Wolves. It was an official timeout, as both teams are ready to get it going again. 1st and 10, 4 minutes and 13 seconds to go. Caleb Herbert in shotgun formation. 2 receivers to his right, 1 to his left, and not sure if that's Cullimore or Dayton Huffman in the backfield with him. It looks like Huffman. Ty Bryant in motion, and they'll give the ball to Dayton Huffman, who gets about 7 or 8 yards, and man, has he been unstoppable tonight.
Yeah, stopped just short of the marker there. Huffman, he's been phenomenal. He's been absolutely phenomenal. Both sides of the ball. This guy deserves to be the MVP of tonight's game, far and away.
As long as the Hawks can keep this 14-point lead, I mean, that's very likely that he'll earn the most valuable player for tonight's game. Herbert on the keeper. Gains about 1 yard. 3rd down and about 2. So as the clock creeps under the 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go mark.
Victory formation here.
Well, not quite yet, as Jacob Wood is going to turn the burners on. He's got one man to beat, and he does it. Jacob Wood has basically just put this one away for the Hawks. No flags. Touchdown.
Yeah, and that almost looked like a bit of trickery there, as that is the standard kneel-down formation that a team will take. And right there, Highland does a little bit of trickery, hands it off to Jacob Wood, and he had very little resistance, just that one man to beat, and he pretty much Marshawn lynched him, throwing him out of the way and taking that ball the rest of the way to the end zone. So that's the 3rd touchdown of the night for the senior, and what a comeback tonight. After missing last week, His team falls at home to Desert Ridge. He comes out, gets 3 touchdowns. And what a night. What a night for Jacob Wood. What a night for Dayton Huffman. What a night for the Highland Hawks.
The extra point is good by Austin McNamara, and that makes it a 21-point Hawks lead with 2 minutes and 26 seconds to go. And this one is just about over, Alex.
Yeah, and just a quick score update for everybody from that Westview Desert Ridge game we've been talking about. With about a minute and a half to go, Desert Ridge just got the ball back, still down 23-7. So if that, it would be a pretty impressive comeback to score 16 points in a minute and a half. So we will keep you posted when that game goes final.
As we mentioned, oh wow, they're announcing here at the Nest that game, that Westview game, Alex, you were just mentioning, has gone final. So the Desert Ridge Jaguars, who these Highland Hawks got beat by last week, go down to the Westview Knights, the 15-seed Westview Knights.
Yeah, and the winners of the Central Division in 6A, a shocking upset. Westview, those kids deserve a hell of a lot of credit holding that Desert Ridge offense to 7 points and getting a monumental upset.
We're hearing it from the Highland crowd here in the press box. Everybody rejoicing that Desert Ridge is no longer in the playoff race.
Yeah, and right there, that shows a little bit of the future of Highland right there. Daniel Wood, the sophomore, with a man's tackle right there on number 15. Vince Ellison on the return. What a great play by number 45. And like we've been saying all night, you'll be seeing him quite a bit on the field next season for this Highland varsity team.
So we're just now noticing that extra point by Austin McNamara ended up being no good. The score 41-21. My apologies, folks. Two minutes and 18 seconds to go. Incomplete.
Yeah, they tried that screen to Nick Hill once again, and one of the rare times that pass falls incomplete as he overthrew the 5'11 senior.
Oh, Alex, we couldn't have asked for a better game here tonight between the 8 and the 9 seed. Two teams with very similar resumes going toe-to-toe. It really has been a barn burner, and it hasn't been until really late that the Hawks have pulled away in this one, as that one is complete to Nick Hill. And Hill finding space to the outside as there is a flag thrown around the 20-yard line.
Yeah, and this should be another illegal block penalty against the Wolves on number 13, Maximus Walker, as a nice completion to Nick Hill, but on the run on the outside, Walker laid a vicious block, and it appears that that will bring the ball back.
2 minutes and 3 seconds remaining. The penalty stops the clock, as does Hill running out of bounds. The ball will be marked at the 16-yard line. A correction, that's where it's marked, where it was marked for the last play. We'll have to see where they put it now. So the 5-yard penalty will be enforced, and the ball spotted at the 11, 2nd and 15. And you can feel the tension here at Highland. They are ready to celebrate. They're ready to explode. Their first playoff victory since 2008, 9 years ago. That one complete to Maximus Walker, as we are now under the 2-minute threshold.
Yeah, and at this point, the clock is all that separates us from the end of this game, as Desert Mountain down by 20 and facing a 3rd and 8. It's been a magical night here in Gilbert.
One minute and 30 seconds. Slovis takes the snap, looks right. Incomplete through the hands of Braden Crone. That stops the clock at 1 minute and 23 seconds.
So it'll
4th
be,
and 8.
Yeah, but he 4th down here At this point, I'm not sure if you punt it, because if you punt, I guess you're conceding. But if you go for it, Highland will have the ball. And if you don't get it, Highland will have the ball basically inside the 30-yard line for sure. So either way, a rough setup here for Desert Mountain, as this was not the result that fans were hoping for. The 32-mile trek down here to Highland High School.
Slow is incomplete on 4th down. The Hawks will take over at their own 18-yard, the Desert Mountain 18-yard line. That might not matter, however, as this one now is practically in the books. An unbelievable showing tonight from Dayton Huffman, who is undoubtedly the player of the game on both the offensive and defensive ends.
Yeah, you can't say enough about Huffman. You can't say enough about Jacob Wood. Just this team in general, it's been a rocky season for them despite their 7 wins. It hasn't been an easy 7 wins, but right here, as Caleb Herbert takes a knee, this is the culmination of a lot of hard work. Brock Farrell, in his first season as head coach, gets this team a playoff win for the first time in almost a decade. As a fan, as a parent, as an administrator here at Highland, you can't ask for any more from Brock Farrell in his first season.
An unbelievable turnaround, an unlikely story. Brock Farrell takes the 3-7 Highland Hawks and flips their record around to 7-3, takes them to the playoffs, and they've got their first win in the playoffs since 2008 as Caleb Herbert sets up in that shotgun victory formation with 1 minute and 15 seconds to go.
And the simple kneel down by Herbert once again here, as there was a offsides penalty against Desert Mountain. So that was actually ended up being a 5-yard gain on the kneel down, which you rarely see.
We are now under the 1 minute mark, and Alex, I fully expect this Highland crowd to erupt when this one's all said and done. 45 seconds to go as Caleb Herbert sets up in that shotgun victory formation yet again. Herbert takes a knee. So after the game, we're going to have some post-game interviews on the field with some of the stars of the game, likely Dayton Huffman and Jacob Wood, as the Hawks erupt from the sidelines. As time expires, the Highland Hawks have their first playoff victory since 2008 as the clock hits 00. A huge night here in Gilbert. The Hawks pull it off 41-21, knocking off the number 9 seeded Desert Mountain Wolves. We came into this game expecting an air raid from the Wolves, and it wasn't that. The Highland Hawk defense able to control the Wolves. And I mean, when you've got a team with your offensive coordinator as Kurt Warner, I mean, I don't think you can be any prouder as a member of this Hawks coaching staff, as a member of the team. As a Hawks fan, I don't think you can be any prouder. Their first playoff win in 9 years. As the teams shake hands out in the middle of the field, it's got to be a bitter defeat for Desert Mountain. But Highland proving that they belong with the big guns in this 6A division. Last week we're ranked at number 6. Last week, Highland number 6, they dropped to number 8 after the loss to eventual division champion Desert Ridge. But goodness, that ranking might have helped them get through to the next round. These Hawks have proved that they are legit. And we're going to send it to break. We'll have Alex Didion down on the field with a couple of stars of the game when we come back from the Nest. Back here in Gilbert, we're going to send it down to Alex Sidian, who's got Dayton Huffman postgame on the field.
Huffman, who was the star of the game tonight, had to be over 150 total yards and that great interception. So, Dayton, what this week what did you guys do mentally to prepare for Desert Mountain?
With fire, and we just followed his rules and played our abilities.
Yeah, that one incredibly impressive run, over 70 yards. You outran the whole defense. What were you guys doing on offense that was so successful to be able to run the ball?
Offensive line, all glory to the offensive line. They made some great holds. My abilities and made the best of it.
And then Mountain Point, Cibola went final. Mountain Point wins 65-0. So next week, you guys will be out at Mountain Point. What's it like to be able to rematch those guys and play them once again? You barely lost to by 1 point.
Oh, I'm excited. We just got to come out with fire. We got to come out and hit them in the mouth and see how it goes.
All right, that's Dayton Huffman. Dayton, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I'm here with Jalen Johnson from the Highland Hawks. Big win tonight. Your defense was absolutely phenomenal. So what were you guys practicing for this week to prepare for this Desert Mountain passing game?
We practiced a lot of passing plays up to their plays. We practiced different coverages to get in different formations they go in, and the scout team just ran the plays, and we just got into formations and got everything right.
What was it like matching up against Josh Walker, one of the top receivers?
It was fun. It was a nice physical battle between me and him, and yeah, it was nice.
And then, as we mentioned, Mountain Point officially won over Cibola, so that'll be your guys' matchup next Friday. What's it like to have a rematch with those guys, have a chance to knock them off after losing to them earlier this season?
It's nice to rematch them again because we lost to them by 1 point last time. It was a disappointing loss, and now that we get a second chance at it again, so it'd be nice to play them again and beat them.
All right. Thanks so much, Jalen. Appreciate it. All right, so I'm here with Highland defensive end Noah Evans. Absolutely phenomenal game tonight. So your defense line, you guys started off with a sack, and from there it just seemed like you guys had complete control over the Desert Mountain offensive line. So what were you guys practicing for this week to prepare for them?
Really all week we just worked on the pass plays, our pass rush all week. Just made a point that we would know our pass rush move before the play started and had it set before it started.
Tell me a little about how it feels. This is the first playoff win for Highland since 2008. This is a big deal for this program to advance to the second round, and next week match up with Mountain Point. So just tell me a little about how that feels to bring a playoff win here to Highland.
Yeah, it's definitely big. Feels great. 2 years ago I played against Chaparral in a playoff game, and we should have won, but we lost. But it's glad that I'm glad that we won this game. So.
Yeah, and the 16-versus-1 matchup went final. Mountain Point advancing, so that'll be your matchup next week. How does it feel to be able to match up with those guys again after you barely lost to them earlier this season?
There's no one else I'd rather play. Mountain Point, I want to play them so bad. We had a close game with them earlier this year, and I'm happy that we get to play them again.
All right, Noah Evans, thanks so much. All right, so a very special guest here, Highland head coach Brock Farrell, following their big 41-21 win over Desert Mountain. So tell me a little about what you guys is prepared for this week to face off against Keaton Slovis in this great Desert Mountain pass game.
Well, he is very good. It was a combination, and really it starts with our offense because we saw that they played a couple two-way guys, especially up front. So we knew that we had to be physical up front, and then that would eventually wear down their pass protection, and we could actually get to them. But, I mean, they're good. Like, they complete passes. They're hard to stop. I think there was about 3 circus catches tonight, and I'm like, I don't know how they got that in there. They're a good team. They made plays, man.
Yeah, and absolutely tonight. So how much have those guys been an impact all season?
The part of our offense, man. When they don't go, we have a hard time scoring. And when they go, we score 40. So, the 3 games that we've scored 40, we've been able to run the ball and then, throw a little play action or RPO in there. The games that we've struggled to run the football. So it correlates with who we are.
And obviously we want to take some time, celebrate first playoff win here at Highland since 2008. But next week, Mountain Point officially went final. They beat Cibola. So tell me a little about what it's going to be like matching up with those guys again on their field where earlier this season you only lost by 1 point.
Yeah, we want that back. So here's our chance, We've had 3 opportunities to take down a top 4 team and haven't done it. So if we want to, be counted as some of the best in Arizona, we got to beat them. I'm glad it's Mountain Point. I think our defense matches well with what they do, but Mountain Point is scary every time you play them. I mean, you can shut them down, 60-yard run, and same thing on defense. They're so good and so fast. We got our work cut out for us. I mean, they're very different than Mountain or Desert Mountain. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, Coach. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, so I'm here with Jacob Wood. Jacob, last week you missed the game against Desert Ridge. This week come out, score 3 touchdowns. Tell me a little about how you were able to bounce back and have such a productive game tonight.
I got to, first of all, thank all the trainers here at Highland because they really were able to get me back in this game. And then second of all, our line, they were amazing tonight. That's the only thing I can say. So that's who I got to give credit to. So.
Yeah, not just on offense. Your defense was super consistent tonight against a really strong Desert Mountain passing game. So what did you do in particular to try to slow down that passing game?
That quarterback is a good quarterback. He was a lot better than what we were expecting to see. Our coaches, when we went into halftime, had a game plan for us, and they didn't score again after halftime. So I was just listening to our coaches. So.
Yeah, and next week you got a Mountain Point rematch. They officially went final and beat Sabol. So tell me a little about what it's going to be like to match up with those guys once again after barely losing to them by 1 point.
We want to get them back. That was a tough loss, and I feel like we should have won that game. So it's going to be a hard-hitting game, but we're excited over here. So,
all right. For Jacob Wood, I'm Alex T. Let's send it in the booth.
Thank you so much, Alex. Oh, it's final here at Highland High School. The Hawks have their first playoff win since 2008. They beat the Desert Mountain Wolves 41-21. For my partner, Alex Wood, I'm Jordan Lank. Alex Didnian, excuse me. I'm Jordan Lank. A big thanks to our executive producers, Jordan Evans and Amanda Foster, as well as Bella Cisneros. Good night, everybody.